watching Sway.
Sway.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Only on Shade 45. Y'all better tune in or these guys is coming at you.
Turn it up.
Promised yourself no more vampires, and yet here we are again.
Wow. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if this series really got its just due. I can't even tell you how many hours I invested in watching every single episode of every single season. And I became a big fan, a follower even, a zombie damn near, of our next guest as he played Vampire Bill, is what we called him affectionately.
Yes.
And that's just a character he played, because in real life he's no vampire, as far as I can tell. Trained professional who has been at this business for quite a long time and finally got his just due with a series playing a vampire. The one and only Stephen Moyer is here, ladies.
Hi, guys.
I mean, this man studied at Oxford.
My mum, when I got the part, was like, really, darling, a vampire? You're going to go and do that? That's the thing? And I was like, dude, it's Alan Ball. Of course I'm going to go and do it. And I think that, you know, I've read probably a handful of great scripts in my life out of hundreds that I've read, and it's up there in the top 3, that pilot. It was unbelievable.
I would imagine as an actor, too, it seemed like, because when you're talking about the paranormal world, you know, of vampires and werewolves, and you know, you guys played it like it was Shakespeare. You know what I mean? Like it was so, we were believing.
Yeah.
I wanted to taste fairy blood. You know what I mean?
Me too, man. I kind of tasted the fairy blood.
Yeah.
I drank from the holy cup.
Get it.
And now you got kids because of it. That's great, man. You guys really played those characters out, huh? That love was true. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, man.
First and foremost,
it's so funny listening to my voice. You know, because in this thing that I'm at the moment, I'm playing my English voice, and it's the first time in 8 years that I've actually used my own voice, and it's so weird hearing Bill there. I was kind of like, who's this doing this Louisiana accent? And then I was like, oh, it's me.
It's you, right? Yeah. That's interesting. You got the new series. It's called The Bastard Executioner, airing Tuesdays on 10 p.m. on FX. I'm from Oakland, California. I've been living in New York for nearly 16 years. So when I first moved to New York, people, you know, they took note of my West Coast accent. Yeah. You know, what up, homie? You know, you hear that? You hear that? You hear that? All right. And now when I go back to Oakland, it's kind of a hybrid.
And do your friends back in Oakland kind of give you a hard time?
They give me
sound like a New Yorker.
Yeah, because I don't to a New Yorker, but
exactly.
I do to them.
Of course.
So you get the same thing when you go home?
Yeah, I do, because I'm from like northeast outside London, and I grew up in where, you know, you sort of spoke a little bit like that. It's much more of a London sound. That you can probably hear a little bit of the difference. It's a little bit kind of rougher. Okay. A bit more working class.
Yeah.
And then I went to drama school, and when I was at drama school, you know, I happened to be in a class of quite a few, not posh, but sort of, you know, kids that had been to private school and sounded different from me. I was just from a normal sort of state school. And so I kind of sounded weird to me. So I ended up kind of going completely the other way. And when I was in there during the week, I kind of would end up sort of speaking really well, kind of nicely like this. And I'd get back to Essex on the weekends, and I'd kind of come in. Oh, hello, barman. I'll have a pint of lager, please. And all my mates are like, "What did you just say?" And then by the end of the weekend, I'll be like that. Yeah. I'd have gone completely the other way, and then I'd get back to drama school on the Monday, kind of talking like that, and they'll be, "Oh God, he's been home."
Yep, he's been on. They can tell you've been on, right?
So now I don't know what I've got.
You don't know
I've
what
just
you
got
got,
this
right?
thing that I do.
It kind of sounds like a Nina Cherry accent too. Remember
Nina,
Cherry? Remember that?
I'll take that.
You take that?
I'll take that. I like Nina Cherry.
The Bastard Executioner is set in is it a 14th century Wales?
14th century. It's set in 1312.
Okay.
Just after, for anybody who knows the history, it's just after Edward I, who had done a lot of the Crusades, and he dies in 1307, and his son Edward II takes over, and Kurt Sutter, who wrote Sons of Anarchy, and did that for 7 years, wanted to do something kind of completely different, and so it's in this medieval world where there's a bunch of rebels fighting against taxes.
Yeah.
And my character is the sort of chamberlain of this castle in this kind of made up shire. But it's all based in truth. And
Whose truth? Just the truth of the times?
the truth of the times,
Okay.
and sort of characters that Kurt has kind of found from history.
Okay.
And my character is the one who's kind of imposing these taxes, and the rebels are fighting against the taxes. And they come in, and there's kind of battles between the two and skirmishes. And my character and my lord find out where the rebels live, and they hurt a bunch of the villagers that they know are the families of the rebels. The rebels then, it's really horrible, by the way.
Yeah.
And then the rebels like come to our castle to try and fight back, and I recognize one of the rebels as a soldier that I fought with many years before. And it's kind of the story of how our two characters kind of interlink, and I know about him, he knows about me, and I sort of twist the story and manage to get him to, because I know all his past, and I get him to come and sort of be my executioner in the castle.
Oh, damn. Shit. I don't expect that twist.
Right.
And it's pretty dark, and being Kurt, you know, if anybody watched Sons of Anarchy, there's a lot of blood. It is gory.
It's gory.
And I shoot this stuff and I can't watch it, you know.
Well, it sounds like the story of our country, because I felt like you were like part of, your character would be considered part of the 1 or 2 percenters.
That's interesting because he isn't actually. My character is very working class, who's sort of scratched his way to this position through his soldierliness, and he's kind of got to a point where he would never have got to if it wasn't for his kind of warrior status. And then something happens and he kind of elevates himself, and he's very Machiavellian, and he kind of brings it, which is quite American. It's kind of that idea of, you know, you can come from nothing and be the top.
Somebody, right?
Yeah.
Wow, Stephen Moyer is here. That you man, shit. The way you just explained that,
For
I can't
real.
wait to watch it tonight
I
at
was
10
surprised
p.m. on
myself.
FX.
I need some more coffee after
Yeah, man. You were putting the hand antics in it. All right, all right. We're gonna open up the phone lines 888-742-3345. Let some of our citizens talk to you directly. I know Tracy have the DB got a lot of questions for you.
Definitely.
Sway the morning shade 45.
And yes, the benefits fall to my favor. But they also fall to the favor of the one you care for most, Lady Love.
That's a scene from The Bastard Executioner, airing Tuesdays tonight, actually 10 p.m. on FX. And then we have Stephen Moyer, who's with us, who plays, is it Milas?
Milas Corbett.
Milas, yes, he plays Milas. Star of the whole show. We got a star here.
Hey.
You know,
One of the stars.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, all right. Well, you're one of, one of the stars is here. Now, DB, you want to ask him a couple of things.
I found did some reading about some of your.
Is that your
interviews and
accent
stuff.
right
Yes,
there?
I'm doing it. You know, I want to get on this level so we can communicate a little bit better. Now, I was reading that you're a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to preparing for roles and when you're shooting and stuff. So, do you kind of like piss off people when you're like, get it right or anything like that, or?
No, I like to think that I'm a believer that you sort of, the energy that you bring into the room is the energy that sort of creates the day. So if everybody's in a kind of nice, happy mood, then it infects the crew, it infects everybody. And so as much as I'm actually much of a harder kind of dude on my own self. You know, I used to play tennis quite competitively, and I was kind of like, I made McEnroe look like a little puppy dog. I was awful. I was really hideous. I hated myself, but it was never, it was never at anybody else. It was always at me.
So when you're doing a period piece, I know that's really tough because you got like costumes, you got like makeup. And
I wear a
especially
really
something-
pretty dress in this.
Right.
Ooh, la la.
Was it easy for you to transfer for something like going from True Blood, where you got like all the special effects makeup and doing all these elaborate costumes and set design and stuff? Was it
it's funny because it wasn't a billion miles away. It's because it's in a period, and Louisiana was the way that Alan sort of framed the show for True Blood, it was such a kind of world, and this is such a world that you're walking into. It's not like every day. So there was that. And also, Kurt didn't want to do something where he didn't want the medieval teeth to be all kind of Hollywood smiles. So we have to wear teeth. So I had to wear teeth.
Yeah,
I had to wear teeth the whole time for True Blood, as you know, for 7 years. And I walked in, and they were like, "You've got to do a thing." And we have teeth, tops and bottoms that are yellow.
Yeah.
And I jokingly said, I thought that you'd cast and done this in England because of our teeth. You know, you wouldn't have to, have that expense.
That's funny.
Oh, wow.
Stephen, I want to switch it up a little bit, and maybe you could give us some advice here. Most people, the average, say, married couple, they come home, they talk to each other about work and people they hate at work and that kind of thing. How was it for you guys, though? Because you worked with your wife and you come home, like, how do you guys have fun if you work together all day, you did that kind of stuff? How do you sort of separate the two?
You know, it's a funny one. It never ever seemed strange. We met at work, so that makes a difference.
But the pilot for True Blood, that's why y'all met, right?
That's when we met, and because that was how we'd known each other, it would have been so strange not having her there. And we'd get home and we'd sort of have jokes with the crew the whole time. You know, the first time that we ever sort of had some sexy time on screen, all of our crew that have known us for ages were there watching us, and 2 years later we're sort of in another sexy time bit, and it's the same boom operator, looking at your jiggly bits, and
Jiggly bits.
so
what do you,
it's like we'd go
Jiggly dick.
I'm allowed to say that, right? Yeah. I'm not going to say that. My mum won't be impressed.
Okay.
But she's my mate. She's my partner. And so it's so funny because we'd so rarely talk about work once we got home.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
But yeah, it felt so natural. It was kind of like a 24/7 gig, that one.
Perfect.
You know what I'm always curious about, Stephen? When people are journeying down their purpose, just how they move fear from the driver's seat to the back seat. So was there any time where you were just sincerely unsure or just like completely full of fear while you were on set or while you were auditioning?
You got 5 hours. That's such a great question. Oh my God. I've been through all sorts of moments in my life where I have felt that I wasn't able to move forward and felt crippled by it, actually. I had 18 years off stage because of a moment in Japan in 1995 where I had stage fright. Nothing to do with going out and partying 24 hours a day. It wasn't anything to do with that, of course. But at the time, I couldn't see that, And so, 6 months off stage, I'll just take 6 months off, turned into a year, turned into 2 years. And every time a job came along, I let something else get in the way of it until it was 18 years. And then 2013, Brooke Shields asked me to do Chicago on stage at the Hollywood Bowl.
Wow.
And I just went, it's time. So I went, and it was interesting because that was about embracing the fear.
Right.
That was about making the decision to just go, I have to do this thing, And our first night after 10 days rehearsal was in front of 15,000 people. And what do? You just got to go out and do it. And if it doesn't go right, it doesn't go right.
Right.
It's just you move on and you do it again. And if it doesn't go right, it doesn't go right. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Exactly. Better than just,
But great question.
Stephen Moyer is here, man. Thank you for being vulnerable with us, too. I feel closer to you.
Do you want to play with my jiggly bits?
Jiggly
No, hey. I've never been asked that before. We got Big Chris on the line.
Don't be rude. And here's Big Chris.
It's all right. His hands are above the table. It's fine, everybody.
Yeah, Big Chris is on the line. Wow, you got some nice jiggly bits here, Stephen. From Nashville. Big Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Sway. Good morning, Heather B.
Hey, Chris. Yep.
Good morning, Stephen. I had a question, Stephen. Being Bill Compton, he had multiple layers as a person. How were you able to get into all those different layers and actually keep them separate from one scene to the next, or from one part of each of the episodes from the next?
That's a really good question, Chris. I think that one of the fascinating things about doing television these days is that the actors don't necessarily know what they're going to be playing in the next episode, because you actually sometimes haven't had it. And as we were doing that show, obviously that show's set in 2008, and as we were moving forward, Alan would suddenly write something that my character had done in the 1930s or the 1920s or in 1895 that I would have been completely unaware of. And so the beauty of that particular show was that I learned more about him as I went forward from the stuff that we shot that was previous. So every time I'd then do something from the past, that would infuse the next week when I was doing something in the present, if that makes sense. And that was just kind of one of the joys of doing something that lasts for 7 years. You just keep building and building and building, and then you know more and more and more about that character, and hopefully those colors are just sort of shaded in for the audience.
Chris, thanks for your call, man. Stephen Moyer is here, the Bastard Executioner, tonight, every Tuesday.
It's actually not on tonight. It's
not?
next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
I think there's a debate or something tonight, so it's not on tonight.
Oh, damn, is that? Damn debates again.
Yeah.
All right.
Just the president, Sway.
That's it.
The next president.
Next could be. All right. What we're going to do, man, we actually gathered up a few questions based on your past, man, and things you have said or done.
Oh, my.
Jiggly bits.
And it's called
Clear Up the Facts.
All right. Where it goes down, man. Stephen Moyer. Here we go.
All right. I read that you're a big boxing fan.
Yep.
Would you say Floyd Mayweather deserves to be considered a true champion?
If you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said no, but yes. He is. He's by far the best defensive boxer there's ever been, I think.
What changed? What made you say yes?
I've
He's
seen-
been that
I've
same
seen-
defensive boxer since day one.
I know, but I've seen the last 8 years of nearly every single fight,
Yeah.
and you've watched all these brilliant people come up. He hasn't fought a couple of the great other ones, you know. He's shied away from them a little bit, but he's brilliantly fought people when they've just gone over their peak.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but he's fought all of them.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple, and he has beaten them.
He's beating them. Everyone.
And
Okay.
So, you know, what can you say?
We agree on that one, by the way. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Your wife, Anna, known for playing Suki, also played Rogue in the X-Men. What superhero would you be?
Oh, man. You know, I turned down an audition for Wolverine because I didn't think the script was very good.
Oh, my
What the hell do I know about anything?
Oh, my God.
Not that I'm 6'5" and built like Hugh Jackman, and not that I would have even been able to get in the room. But I kind of Wolverine's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm an idiot, everybody.
Yeah. Mistake.
All right. Last interesting thing that I read.
Last interesting. There was only 3, were there?
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Sorry
if I let you down.
I read that you used to be an atheist and you didn't believe in the paranormal.
Yes.
But something happened in your life that changed your views. What was it?
Word.
Dun, 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 dun. I'll tell you a really cool story. And this is about my best friend that I grew up with, my bestest brother friend. He's a forklift truck driver, and he owns the company now, but he started out as a forklift truck driver. And a bit of a soccer hooligan. We grew up together, a bit of a crazy dude. There's a bunch of things that he has told me over the years that have become true. And he sees them before they happen. And the great example of this is, and I've never told this story, I woke up the day after Anna and I found out that we were pregnant, and I saw that there was a text from him, and Anna said to me, I'm surprised Alan hasn't told you, hasn't predicted that we were pregnant. And I went, hang on, he's just texted me. I reached across, we hadn't told a soul, right? And I reached across and I opened it up and it said, dude, I had a dream last night that I saw you and Anna running around on the beach with a baby boy and girl.
Oh, my gosh.
And we didn't know that we'd got twins at this point.
Oh my, wow.
So later that day, her we call it a gynecologist.
Same thing.
What is it here?
Coochie doctor. Go ahead.
No,
Come on, man. Let's go.
OBGYN.
OBGYN, that's
Okay.
it. I get that acronym sometimes quite screwed up.
Coochie doctor.
Coochie doctor. And he called up and he said, the blood count's really high. I think you guys should come in. We went in and he said, I think there's 2. And he said, she was about 5 or 6 weeks at this point. He said, do you want me to find out what they are, by doing a check within the scan? And Anna said, we know what they are. And he said, well, I'll do the check anyway. And he said, it's a boy and a girl. And she said, yeah, I know. I know.
Wow.
And so it's all due to my best friend, Alan.
Wow.
Sort of changing my perception on life.
Wow.
Alan made you a believer. I like that.
Guardian angel.
Hey man, thank you for coming by the show, man. This is
you,
really a
sir.
treat for us, bro. You have no idea how big a fan
Let's
we
stay
are.
all day.
Yeah, man. Well, you know.
Shame I got to go and do other
It
stuff.
was downhill from here, bro. All right, but thank you for coming by. The Bastard Executioner starting next Tuesday at 10 p.m. at FX. Support our friend. He's a citizen.
A Sway in the morning.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45. Kilo.